I was born December 8th, Irvington, New Jersey. Snowy afternoon. Cried all the way home. My first and only experience of a two-parent household. And I remember somewhere around 3 years old, maybe between 3 and 5, my parents were always playing music in the house. Between my father and my mother, they both have incredible taste in music, very diverse. My father was the soul, R&B, jazz, funk, hip-hop guy. He had a band in high school. He played keys, guitar. He had like studio equipment all in the crib and stuff like that, and like vinyl and towers of CDs in the house. And my mother, being that she's from Guyana, South America, she came to America with all of her calypso and soca and dancehall. And she also loved R&B. She wasn't really too much into the 80s R&B. If it wasn't really Prince, she wasn't fucking with it. She loved hip hop as well. And I remember being a shorty, two particular albums that were being played that would be the seeds to what I would become later on as a musician. One of those albums was an album called A Tribe Called Quest Low in Theory. Oftentimes, my parents would play Check the Rhyme. And depending on who I was in the car with that day, or who was in the house that day, my mother and I would take turns being Fife and Q-Tip, or my father and I would take turns being Fife or Q-Tip, or all three of us were singing together. That was the first rhyme I ever remembered verbatim. I know that rhyme so well that I could probably say it backwards. My father was a bit mischievous, and when my mother would leave the house, sometimes he would play Dr. Dre's The Chronic.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door. Ready to make an entrance, so back on up.
Cause you know we're about to rip shit up.
Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Cause ain't nothing but a G thing. Payback. Too low down niggas, so in death row, here's the label that I'm unfadable. So please don't try to fade this.
Dr. Dre's The Chronic album was the first time I had ever heard curse words in my life. And sometimes he and I would take turns being Dr. Dre or Snoop Dogg. So sometimes when mom was around, he would play the clean version, but when she would leave, he would play the dirty version. And that really opened my mind up, because those two albums are what built me to what I would become as a producer later on in life.